She had left some things in the safe and she wanted to get them. Having to show the house was a perfect opportunity. Red saw there was something out of the ordinary about the house. It was meticulously kept, better than what she remembered. After finding an extra set of keys, she steadily stepped out of her car and she cautiously walked toward the front door. Pausing after her third step, Red looked around. Something doesn't feel right. Her legs felt like lead with each step that she took. Once she arrived at the front steps, goosebumps rose on her arms, and the hairs of the back of her neck stood straight up. The first thing Red noticed was the abundance of mail that was stuffed in the mailbox. Bundling it up, she stuffed it under her arm. "There you are!" A high-pitched voice screeched. Red jumped and turned. A feeble old woman tottered toward her from next door. "Where have you been, young lady? You ought to let your neighbors know when you're gone for an extended period of time." She scolded Red like a school kid. Red smiled sheepishly at the woman. "I'm sorry, Miss Taylor. I had an emergency out of town," Red lied. "I hope everything is okay," the woman spoke. "I tried to catch your gentleman friend, but..." "Gentleman friend?" Red quizzed. "Yes, the extremely tall, slender, and might I add, handsome." The woman patted Red on her forearm to note her approval. "Young man I saw coming in and out of here for a few months. He seemed to forget about the mail, so I started collecting it for you. I've been a little under the weather lately, so I couldn't get the stuff that's in there now." A car drove down the street, and Red held her breath until it passed. "Why am I so paranoid?" she said to herself. "This is still my house." Red had to get the old woman away from her. She was wasting her time. "I appreciate it, Miss Taylor. What can I help you with? I really gotta go." Red shifted from foot to foot, doing an "I gotta pee" dance. "Oh, nothing. I just wanted to give you this." She handed Red a box. "I collected your mail while you were gone and didn't want it to seem like nobody was there, you know? There was some type of shooting some time back in the neighborhood. Cops never found out what happened, but you know we have to keep this block safe." "You're right, Miss Taylor. Thank you, and I appreciate it." A pleased look of neighborly satisfaction on her face, Miss Taylor hobbled away. As soon as she was out of sight, Red put her key in the lock and prayed it still turned. Click. Red stepped inside. Moments earlier, Bacon eased the curtains back slightly as he peered out of the window. His eyes narrowed when he saw Red park her car in his driveway. Anger radiated from his pores when he saw her emerge from the vehicle. How could he be so lucky? He wanted to jump through the window and strangle her, but he had to play it smart. He would just wait until she came into his web.
"It's playtime, bitch. And this time, you lose."
Q left the bank in a haste while he angrily punched Red's cell phone digits in his keypad. Before pressing talk, he snapped the phone closed.
"Fuck that bitch. You know what she stand for."
He yelled out loud. Pedestrians gazed at Q in shock.
"Fuck you looking at?"
He yelled at an old woman who held her purse tightly in her grip when he passed her. He leaped into his truck and skidded off. Arriving at the loft, Q parked and took the elevator upstairs. His mind was overcome with confusion because he didn't know why Red never told him why the check was no good.
"Was she trying to play with me at the church?"
He questioned.
"I thought she changed."
Q wasn't just upset that the fact was no good. It was the fact that Red never came clean to him about it. And if she would hold something that small from him, what else would she keep from him?
"Every time I trust her, I'm the one who winds up getting fucked in the ass."
Q went into the bathroom and started taking her clothes out of her closet. 10 minutes later, a large pile was lying across their bed, but he hadn't even made a dent in what she owned. His first idea was to throw everything in the incinerator, but then he had second thoughts. He looked through some of her clothes. A lot of them still had tags on them. He took them to the bathtub and threw them in there. Hugh made his way into the kitchen and took out a bottle of Clorox bleach. He marched back into the bathroom and emptied the entire bottle of bleach on Red's clothes. Angrily, he left the loft and made his way back to the bank. "Hey, you," the bank security guard yelled at Q.
"Hey, you!"
The security guard yelled at Q when he barged past him.
"Where you going so fast?"
The guard put his hand on Q's shoulder. Q didn't realize how crazy he appeared or how his behavior could have been looked at as irrational.
Get your hands off me.
Q spoke through gritted teeth. Hello, Quentin, a soft female voice said in a meek tone. Q turned and looked at Kara. Is everything okay here?
Is everything okay here?
The guard asked. Yes, everything's fine. She led Q to a sitting area, being careful not to trip over her ankle-length black skirt. Quentin, I'm sorry about the check incident earlier, Kara said. I thought Red would have told you about the stock payment. Q cut his eyes at Kara and then looked away. Listen to me, Quentin. There's more you need to know. Q sat still and listened while Kara spoke. She barged in on me, Sasha and her boyfriend, Blue, at Andiamo, Italia, sometime back and caused a scene. Last we saw of her that night, she was in the back of a patrol car.
Who's Blue?
Some guy she used to mess with a long time ago, but Sasha's with him now. They announced that they were going to have a baby and Red got upset about it.
Come on, Ma. I don't believe that.
It's true, Quentin. Q turned his head and looked out toward the customers who were filing in to make their deposits or withdraw money. Well, if you don't believe that, then what if I told you she wasn't pregnant the first time she said she was?
What?
I said the first time Red told you she was pregnant at the Renaissance Hotel, she wasn't. Kara remembered Red telling everyone that she was pregnant by Carlos, who was in a wheelchair, but Kara knew what really happened. Q thought back to it. He had never told anybody about it, especially the location, with the exception of Zeke. So he knew she had to know something.
The test was positive, Kara. I saw with my own eyes. Turned pink.
I know it did. Kara put her head down in shame. It was my pee.
What? How?
Kara started to speak, but Q held up his hand, cutting her off.
I want to know.
It's an old trick, Quentin. Anyways, back to the restaurant. I thought things were going well for you all. That's what she led me to believe when she came to the bank before. At that moment, Q began to question Red's reason for being with him.
Why would she act that way over another nigga when I'm here? I say to ask from getting killed. But she's pissed that another nigga got someone else pregnant?
The harsh reality sank in that Red now spent more time away from home. Because she couldn't handle the fact that Q was serious about getting out of the game. Q was on the legitimate hunt for legal employment. But knew it would be a long and tedious road. He only knew how to hustle. He had no employable job skills that matched the paper that he'd been getting. He was hoping that Red would stick by him in the same way that he was there for her, but he was mistaken. Red claimed her absence was due to her new real estate business, but Foxy had told him that word on the street had it that some of the major players planned to go after her, buy property, and get pussy. The bigger the commission, the more pussy you got, was the buzz. Q knew that it was street gossip, but the idea that his woman was so scandalous that her name was on everyone's lips was just too much to handle, especially after Zeke's death. Q was tired of being humiliated.
Kara.
Q looked at her with pain in his eyes.
I want to apologize for Red's actions towards you. But I will say, you messed up when you seen that letter to Bacon. It almost got her killed. Shit, it almost got me killed.
I'm sorry, Quentin. If I could take everything back, I would. Kara answered honestly. She looked at the long line beginning to form. I'm sorry, but I gotta go back to work. Q nodded and left. Red slowly stepped into the foyer and looked around cautiously. She couldn't believe her eyes. The living room was adorned with expensive contemporary furniture and black art. She walked into the kitchen and it was now decorated in a contemporary style with an all stainless steel appliances and a sub-zero refrigerator. As she walked back from the kitchen to the living room, a cold chill ran through her spine when she realized she was now in the place where she encountered Bacon the last time. Bacon, she thought. Could he be here? Nah, she convinced herself. She remembered the call that she received from the private investigator. She just hadn't had the time to return their calls. Maybe I should have, she thought, as she continued to walk. If he was out, I'm sure he would have crossed my path, she reasoned to herself. Maybe he took my advice, turned homo, and died. Red grinned at the thought of him getting fucked from behind the same way he did her. A million thoughts ran through Red's head, and then she realized that she was still carrying the box that Miss Taylor had given her, as well as the other mail that she had retrieved moments ago. Maurice Clarence, she read. The rest was junk mail addressed to her. That's the basketball player, she remembered. That's the person Miss Taylor must have been referring to. Shit, motherfucker been living in my crib? He gotta pay me some rent. But first things first? That's right. Get yourself together, bitch. Just get your shit, and bam. She looked at her watch. Her client was 20 minutes late, and she wasn't going to wait around any longer. She hyped herself up as she made her way upstairs to retrieve what she felt was rightfully hers. She paused outside of the door of the master bedroom. Slowly, Red walked inside and her eyes darted from wall to wall. There was a blue banking bag on the bed, but she quickly walked over to the picture that hung next to the window and removed it. She smiled when she saw the safe. 24, 36, 12. She turned the combination, hoping it hadn't been changed. She sighed when it clicked, allowing her access. Red's eyebrows raised when she saw that the only thing in the safe was a mirror. What the fuck is this? Two eyes appeared reflected behind her. The full face came into view and Red's mouth opened wide. At the same time, a strong arm grabbed her around her neck. Before she could say his name, she was thrown across the room. Red tried to struggle to her feet. Before she knew it, Bacon pounced over to her and grabbed her by her hair, holding her head back.
You make one fucking move and I swear, I'll snap your motherfucking head, bitch.
Chapter 30, the last one. Q drove away from the bank, not knowing what to do. He hated the ground Red walked on and wished that Bacon would have killed her when he had the chance. He looked down at his cell phone and saw that he had a missed call. The ID displayed the Officer Thomas's number.
The fuck you want?
Q said out loud. He had been calling him for the past couple of days, but Q never returned his call. He drove to the closest liquor store to find something strong that would wash out the bad taste that Red left in his mouth. Q bought a fifth of Martell and hightailed it back to the loft. He wanted to be there when Red came home for the evening so that he could kick her ass out of his house and his life permanently. The ringing phone seemed 10 times louder to Q. He looked down and saw the empty bottle of Martell.
Hello? Mr. Carter, who wants to know?
Q's tongue felt thick.
This is Officer Thomas. I need to see you about Ezekiel's murder. I just got a hold of his toxicology report, and there's something I think you'd be interested to know. Yeah. I also think you need to know we found a video.
Q hung up on the officer. He was tired of the officer's badgering and accusations. Bacon yanked Red's neck back until he couldn't go any further. He wanted to snap her neck so bad that his dick started to get hard. Bacon, please. Red cried quietly and a tear rolled down her cheek. Bacon looked at her, cackled evilly, and stood up. Wait, smack. He backslapped her. Smack. He slapped her again. Red began to get angry. Not only had he slapped her once, he slapped her twice. She rose to her feet.
Bitch, I ain't say you could get up.
Bacon slapped her again.
You move when I tell you to move.
Red got back on the floor.
You dirty bitch.
She had never seen the sight of Bacon.
Now crawl.
Red wiped her face with the back of her hand, wiping away the tears that were streaming down her face. Bacon, you've been watching too much TV. She remembered how he liked this particular scene in the movie Sparkle, but she couldn't play it out for him.
That's all I had time to do when I was locked down. And you was spending all my shit. So bitch, I said crawl.
Bacon pointed his .357 Magnum toward her.
Or die.